I want to tell you why I have studied astrology for over 30 years. For aeons, the planets have been linked with human behaviour. Occultists have written down and hidden the practice, and the church has tried to quash it. I said to myself, they've written it down, they've hidden it, they've passed it on, whilst the church has tried to destroy it. Surely there's got to be something in it. Wouldn't you agree? Plato, Lao Tse, Buddha, they all discovered brilliant truths built upon the knowledge of their predecessors. Just as Einstein, Galileo, Kepler, Duns, they all also built truths based upon the knowledge of their predecessors. Astrology has been handed down by brilliant people. We shouldn't ignore it. I also find it strange that the church says astrology is against God's will. Why? Because it can predict the future? If astrology can predict the future, we should definitely look into it. Perhaps it is more that astrology connects us individually with the universe and gives us all a place, a destiny. Our individual lives are valuable. I think that is probably the reason the church did not support astrology. There are a few misconceptions too about astrology. One, that it does predict the future. It's more like we can tell what energies we are likely to come across. And that's a big subject. What kind of energies? And the other misconception is that astrology says we don't have any free will and that our lives are fated. Well, we do have free will. Totally, always have free will. We have as much free will as we need to mess up our lives, should we choose, or to improve them. But just let me say, I think the greatest sense of fulfillment is to live your destiny, is to be, or try to be, the best you can be. And I think fate is the umbrella for bravery, meaning, and hope. So maybe we really need to think more about what it means to live your destiny. But that's another big subject as well. And not quite to do, well, it is to do with astrology, but we don't have to cloud that right here. And anyway, even if the church did say astrology is brilliant, you should all look into it, most people would not be able to understand it. Only now in our time, with mass education and the resources that we have on the internet, can nearly everybody learn astrology. Previously, with the lack of education, lack of resources such as being able to draw a horoscope or look at an ephemeris, people couldn't even learn astrology if they wanted to. that reason as well, in our time, we're blessed with the opportunity that we could learn astrology if we wanted to. So astrology deepens our connection with the universe. And it's been linked with poetry and maths through the young Buddhist monks' education, and it is linked with poetry, maths and art through the muses. Because just like poetry, maths, art and music, astrology can interpret the world. Poetry helps us put our passions and our yearnings in perspective. Art helps us see the beauty in every day. Music helps us feel the same things as another person. Maths shows us the seemingly unrelated pattern between things. And astrology connects us with the universe, and it's good to be connected to the universe. When we go to the sea and we look out over that grey expanse of swelling, swaying, heavy medium of water, that inexplicable sense of mass moving, we feel a connection with something unknown, inexplicable. The same when we look out over patchwork green fields and valleys, we get a sense of our small being on a huge earth slowly turning. We can feel safe for a moment in the slowness of time, and that too is connection. Or we look up over the night sky and we pick out planets, marvel at the moon's phases. We get a sense of the enormity of the universe. And we just can't quite grasp it. And that is connection. Without connection, people get depressed and they feel meaningless. Our modern world, we have wonderful distractions, materialism, advertising, Netflix and snacks. And we can forget that we are connected. And we can feel safe not having to face the weirdness, but it is in that apparent safety we lose connection. But if you were going to study astrology, you'd need to stand aside from all the brilliant scientists in our time who say astrology is rubbish, because in reality they don't know about this secret study that has been handed down for thousands of years. Astrologers are independent thinkers out of necessity, and astrology is also an individualistic subject. So you'll study it most likely on your own. But that should be good company.